Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are and wherever you may watch this replay. Today, we're going to talk about the tiny details of your collages or even the big details of your collages. And sometimes people think that you that creating collages can be hard, but if you vary up the size and shapes and proportion of your collages, you could really make a dramatic impact to your art. So that's what we're going to talk about today is how to bring that dramatic impact to your art. And I don't mean dramatic as in, you know, big movie dramatics, I'm talking about the variety and the balance and all the things that we've been talking about the last few times and how varying up the size and shapes and the proportions of them brings the dramatic to your art. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Um so so far away. I'll bring it up to the camera. So I have some examples here. So when we were creating this collage yesterday, I talked about this little bitty shape there. And that little round shape is smaller than the larger shapes that are closer to you. And so that provides depth and it will push you, it makes it look as though the star is in the background, is it is further away than the stars that are closer, right? So I called these stars in my little collage here. So that is a way of adding drama or dramatic effects, if you will, to your collages because this is showing this is further away. Other thing that we talked about yesterday in the collage was, remember there was a series of skulls that were at the bottom of this collage of this jelly print paper. Now, because I put these quote trees in, these tops of these skulls look like hills in the background. And so therefore it pushes more depth into the art. And that's what makes it more appealing is having depth or using size and proportion to create in your collages helps make your collages more visually interesting instead of just flat all on the same surface. Now, when we talk about this is more flat. It's on the same surface. But and I keep bringing this one up as well because it has some unique qualities about that we've been going through. But varying up the sizes of the circles, you have these bigger circles, and then you have a cluster of smaller circles, really draws the eye together and varies up the proportion and the dramatics of the collage. I call it dramatics, but the depth of the collage, that kind of thing. Not depth as in landscape depth that we talked about here, but just depth in general overall. And then the various sizes and shapes here bring more interest as well. Oop, brings more interest as well. So those are some examples. This is another example that what drew my eye was the big giant shape that you have. You have another big giant shape, but then you have this little pop of color and a smaller circle here that just really the proportion is so greatly different that it really draws your eye, not only by color, but by the shape itself. So, and then what I thought was interesting on this one was everything is, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's you got some straight lines here and you got some dramatic um I'm sorry, organic lines with some circles and hexagons. But what was really interesting was how organic this was, this little piece compared to these others and the proportion of it. So these are wider. This is thin and very dramatic on the edges. And so that just really added additional interest to this piece here. So those are some examples of how you can use um, proportions of shapes in your collages. Just keep experimenting. This is not a perfect technique, and you just have to, play and make time for yourself. But what when you're doing things like this, and part of the 100-day lives is, you know, it's really getting connected with yourself and your art, and really shaking off those things that are in your life that you just get out of those ruts, right? Not creative ruts, but get out of those ruts, whatever those may be. If you have stress, those kinds of things, that's what all experimentation and making art is all about. So, with that, let's go ahead and get started on our next project here. So, for this one, I had a couple of things that I was messing around with. Not that, that's for sure. Um, I have these here that I'm going to make a background with, and then I have this dark blue one as well. So I pre-cut these um in yesterday, thinking I would get to them, but well, we didn't. So here we are. Um, anyway, all right, we're gonna go ahead and get these going. The I was gonna say something, I forgot what it was now. So today we'll look at proportion when we create some collages. I know we just showed examples of them, but we'll think about those proportions as we're creating our collage. And I'll be honest, my intent. Oh, Sherry, you did this wrong. Um, my intent is not to create a scene. I know that just sounded weird. I'm not going to create a scene. My intent is not to create a scene, but to rather just go with my intuition and see what comes up. So hopefully we are abstract today. We'll see what comes up, what resonates today. All right. So, well, that did not go well. Let's go this way with it. Sorry, being a little picky. We'll get that in there. Let that sit for a minute. I've been trying not to get any air bubbles. And then I got 3 pieces of paper here that I'm going to try to make a background with. Sorry, just one second. I'm just trying to get this done in a hurry. So you don't have to sit there and watch paint dry, literally. I think we're gonna go with that one. Maybe we'll just do 2 pieces. We'll see. Looking to see how maybe I want this one too, but we can always do that update. And I mean, after we're done wrapping it. Okay. All right. So, does anybody have? Oh, never mind. I was going to ask a question because I thought I saw some people online, but never mind. Maybe everybody's just asleep today. That's okay. I woke up ready to go. Today is not a struggle bus day for sure. It is definitely a day where I woke up early. We kind of talked about this yesterday, where I don't have to almost set an alarm. I do, don't get me wrong. Um, but I don't need to set an alarm. I will wake up before the alarm goes off. It doesn't matter the time. I can just set that internal clock. And I don't know how that works or why that works, but I don't know if you're like that or not. But if you are, I'd be interested, do you need an alarm or not an alarm to wake up? Um, but I don't trust myself. So I set the alarm anyway because you just never know when your body says, nope, you're going to sleep a little longer. So, right. All right. So now we got this one here ready to go. Put those over to the side. And then we'll finish this one up here. I can't believe we are at 54 days going live every morning. That is like amazing to me. Never, when I started this journey, never thought I would get this far. Well, I did because I'm pretty tenacious, but I thought it was definitely interesting that we're at this number so far. Okay. And then we'll just create our collages here in just 1 second. Want to get the background wrapped. And we're done. All right. So here's our collage fronts. And then I wanted to go back with, I was looking at adding this to here, but I kind of like it maybe over here. I think that's where we're going. We're going over here. I like the contrast. I think I like that a lot. We're talking about proportion. So just adding this right here definitely I kind of like the way it looks. It's very with the different colors as well. It's a very nice proportion right now. So we'll see what turns out with it. All right, I'm going to let's pull out some jelly prints here and see what comes to mind. This gold is interesting. And I have definitely have some deli paper that I'm using and some tissue paper, which I haven't used in a while. Let me go grab that real quick because I do not see it. Well, I thought I knew where it was. I guess I don't. I want to see what that looks like against that dark contrast. I don't think it goes. Nope. Not today. It says it's not happening today. Okay. Let's see what this looks like here. It's almost like me creating right now is almost like, I don't want to say Pomodoro style, but like hardly any talking and creating and just being in the moment. Um, I feel is what's happening right now. I kind of like the orange, but I'm not sure exactly where I like that orange. So I'm just auditioning my papers and seeing what comes up next. Wow, things are not resonating today. My mind must be elsewhere. What do we got here? What's this? We're looking at shapes. Ooh, I like this purple. Okay, we're definitely putting the purple in here. Not sure where though. What else we got? Oh, this is cool. I have to trim that off just a little bit though. Maybe that's the purple. And then I have this giant purple, blue purple shit. Oh, I like that a lot. All right, we're going with that. And we're going to need some glue, some regular glue. This is a thick piece of cardstock. All right, let's build upon this little shape here. It's interesting how colors are very similar in the as we vary up our proportions. And the colors that are really resonating today are blue and purple. I think that's interesting. I don't know where we're headed with that, but it seems um, purple is happening today, whatever that looks like. Oh, I didn't see this one. And oh, I know what we have also. Oh, well, maybe it's not what I thought it was. Never mind. What is, I got a couple of these in here, and I see another. Okay, let's see what we have. I like we have these shapes, these little scallops. Wonder what one would look like if I took one of these bigger ones, put it next to this one, and then I know this is like tiny, but I kind of like that. I just don't like that this kind of blends in a little bit. It's not as big and bold as I was hoping for. But we might do something else to bring that more forward. I'm looking just to see if I have any others. I do. I have this one. Will that work? That's a lot lighter, but this one tends to be darker over here. Let's see. Let's just play around with these proportionate shapes. What would be interesting, I think, is okay, you have all that purple, and what I think would be interesting is a maybe another shape that kind of pops off these, like that blue, but this orange was interesting. So let me see what that looks like. I kind of like how that pops off the background there. And it adds variety to this as well as the different proportions. You got this dramatic big spot and then this cute little orange thing. I feel like your eye kind of goes this way and then snaps back. Like it your eye follows these shapes and then snaps back to this one. So I kind of like that. So we're going to add this there. It also is the orange here, while it's not the same kind of orange, pulls in the orange from the background. So kind of liking that. Now, these are going to need some more glue. And then I feel like this one here is going to need some kind of it's going to need something to pull that out from the background a little bit. It might need a little shading or it might need some Posca markers to really pop that shape out from the background. I think that's going to be important for that particular shape. Now, the other thing I was looking at as I was creating these collages over here was what did this look like on here? Having this little fishnet organicness. Not sure if I like that too much or not. And of course, we have this. Not sure that didn't work. And then I have some of this as well. It might be kind of cool to have something right here. Let's see what that looks like. Now, how was I going to do that again? Okay, we're going to cut through here. One second. We'll cut through here. And then we're going to cut this way. Okay. I was thinking it right there. Having that and then maybe having some over there. I like the I want to say I can't say the word now. Never mind what I was going to say because I cannot say it. Words are not working today. Okay, so we're gonna put that there, and then I was thinking a little bit of well, go back over there. I was thinking about repeating this over here, but making it smaller because we're talking about what does this look like? I don't know if I want that, but maybe if we just went like this. Yeah, I think so. Sometimes when you're creating art like this and you know the foundational principles of art, like rhythm and unity and some of the things that we've been talking about, proportion, it comes naturally, right? It's all about making your collages. Um, when you understand those principles and you put them together, surprising results can happen. Sometimes not just do sometimes it becomes intuitive is what I'm trying to say when you have that a little bit of that background. Okay, so that's where we are today. So we talked about how when we're creating our art, making proportionate using different size and shapes, different sizes of shapes, and how that drives interest into your collages. Um, and also not having the same shape but variety of the shape. Also, kind of helps with that creative rut that you may get into, or shake off some of that stress and just play. It's just all about being intuitive and playing and mixing big bold shapes like we did here with a little tiny one. Um, the proportion over here, this I really wanted to cut into this sea of dark blue with a contrasting color, but also varying up the side. Like you got some heaviness over here. We talked about that yesterday, like how scale and heaviness, and so right now it seems a little heavy right here, but we're not done with this one. Seems heavy, like as we talked about yesterday, it seems heavy if you were on a scale, on this side as well, because we're just not done yet. But anyway, we're just gonna keep adding different things to our collages and see what we come up with. Anyway, let's see here. So today we talked about proportions of shapes, and we also reached out into scale, variety, and weight, and that all goes along together when you're creating your art. And so don't try to be as intuitive as you can when you're creating art, and see what speaks to you, see what your subconscious says. It will really help you with those stress relief techniques that I use my art for, is focusing my mind elsewhere. And if you want to add more dramatic effect, vary up the size and style and color of your shapes, and the proportions of them, really big and the really small, like we did with one of the collages we did today. um, really provides that dramatic interest to your collages. So with that, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. And thank you for watching Ratchet Up Your Art.